For years I was making a mistake with rice water in my garden that cost me countless hours of trial and error, and honestly, it's probably the same mistake most gardeners make. I thought simply soaking rice, fermenting the water, and sprinkling it over my plants would boost growth. But instead, I was inviting fungal problems, root rot, and nutrient lockup. Yield suffered, leaves yellowed, and my soil microbiology never improved. It wasn't until I rethought the process entirely that everything changed. Before I dive into the exact fix, I want to share a tool that makes integrating fermented rice water and other organic amendments far more practical: my 4-litre electric composter for the kitchen. This countertop machine turns kitchen scraps into nutrient-rich fertilizer in just a few hours, odorless, low noise, and self-cleaning. I use it to supplement my fermented rice water with living nutrients, which prevents the common mistake of over-applying raw liquid that's low in microbes. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out, but in serious gardening, this step really transforms how nutrients cycle through your beds. Here's why most gardeners fail with rice water raw or improperly fermented. Rice water is unstable. It can spike in sugars that feed pathogens instead of beneficial microbes. In raised beds and containers I've tested, using untreated or quickly fermented rice water led to sudden fungal outbreaks on seedlings, wilted roots, and nutrient deficiencies within a week. The mistake is subtle. You see early growth, think it's working, and then the rot sets in. That's why most advice online is misleading or incomplete. The fix is simple but counterintuitive. Control the fermentation and integrate nutrient-rich inputs at the right time. I start with a cup of rice, rinsed thoroughly to remove surface starch, then soak it in 1 litre of filtered water for 12 to 24 hours. Next, instead of letting it ferment on the counter for days, I add a tablespoon of composted material from my electric composter. This introduces beneficial bacteria and fungi that dominate the fermentation process. Without this step, pathogens often outcompete helpful microbes, leading to fungus problems in your beds. Timing and ratios matter. In a typical 4x8 raised bed, I dilute the finished rice water with 10 parts water to 1 part fermented solution before applying it. For containers, a ratio of 5:1 works best because, smaller volumes concentrate nutrients quickly. Spraying directly onto foliage can work, but I've found soil application around the root zone is far more effective for preventing fungal issues. The microbes colonize the rhizosphere and stabilize nutrient uptake, which also strengthens plant immunity. One advanced tip: if you're serious about fast results, try combining fermented rice water with other living inputs. I regularly mix it with diluted compost tea or sometimes just a few tablespoons of worm castings. This ensures the beneficial microbes have food and minerals to thrive. In a side-by-side trial in my raised beds, seedlings treated with plain rice water alone struggled with damping off, while beds with the enhanced charged rice water had 0 fungal issues and, honestly, much stronger roots within 3 weeks. Roots. Here's something most gardeners overlook: the temperature and environment of fermentation. Warm, stagnant water allows fungi that cause rot to multiply faster than bacteria that protect plants. I keep my fermentation in a cool, shaded spot and stir it daily to aerate the solution. This encourages aerobic bacteria, which suppress pathogenic fungi naturally. In hydroponic experiments, this step alone reduced root slime buildup and prevented nutrient imbalance caused by early fungal colonization. Another misconception is that more fermentation equals better results. I've tested leaving rice water to ferment for 5 to 7 days in hot climates. This is actually harmful. The pH drops, fungal populations dominate, and you end up with a solution that can stunt seedlings or burn roots. Short, controlled fermentation with microbial inoculation works better than letting the solution develop flavor, which is common advice you'll find online. If you're using rice water for hydroponic systems, the approach is similar but scaled. I sprout rice lightly, blend it, then ferment it with a small amount of compost extract or diluted compost tea. I dilute this solution to 5 to 10% concentration of my main nutrient reservoir. The result? Better microbial stability, less risk of fungal outbreaks, and improved root oxygenation. I've run multiple trials with leafy greens, and the difference in leaf thickness and root mass is immediately noticeable. Let's talk soil application versus foliar spraying. Foliar spraying can help in some situations, especially for seedlings that show early signs of deficiency, but the root zone application is what truly changes soil biology. Applying rice water directly to soil after charging it with composted material provides living nutrients that build a resilient microbial ecosystem. I typically apply 1 to 2 liters per square meter in raised beds, lightly worked into the top inch of soil to avoid displacing seedlings. In containers, 200 to 400 milliliters per 5-gallon pot is sufficient. Here's a trick that most DIY guides won't tell you. Rotate your rice water inputs with other organic amendments. 1 week, I use rice water with compost. The next week, diluted compost tea. And sometimes I add small amounts of fish emulsion or fermented plant extracts. This diversity keeps microbes thriving and prevents any single pathogen from dominating the system. In my backyard experiments, this rotation method eliminated fungal outbreaks entirely across multiple beds, even during humid weather. Another tip, keep monitoring pH and soil moisture. Fermented rice water is slightly acidic, which can be beneficial for some crops but harmful if over-applied. In raised beds, I apply it every 7 to 10 days at controlled dilution. In containers, I apply every 4 to 5 days because smaller volumes are more prone to nutrient spikes. Over time, you'll notice stronger root systems, greener leaves, and fewer signs of nutrient lockup or rot. Now, let's address the common misconception that rice water alone can solve fungal problems. Alone, it's just a sugar-rich liquid. Without beneficial microbes and nutrient balance, it can actually, make things worse and exacerbate the very problems you're trying to fix. I've tested this repeatedly. Plain rice water boosts early growth for a day or two, but fungal outbreaks often follow. Charging it with compost and microbial inputs, applying correct dilutions, and rotating with other amendments solves the issue completely. Here's the practical takeaway. The difference between failure and success isn't the rice itself. It's how you control fermentation, introduce beneficial microbes, and integrate it into a balanced nutrient routine. Using my electric kitchen composter alongside rice water ensures you never waste valuable organic matter, and it creates a living, resilient system that protects roots from fungus while feeding plants effectively. If you're serious about preventing fungal problems and improving yields, subscribe now for more experience-driven strategies. Share this video with someone struggling with rot, damping off, or poor soil microbial activity, and check the description for the link to the composter I use. It's a small investment that has an outsized effect on soil health and plant growth. At the end of the day, success in gardening isn't about guessing or following generic advice. It's about understanding microbial interactions, nutrient cycles, and practical techniques that actually work in raised beds, containers, and hydroponic systems. By fixing rice water fermentation and pairing it with living compost inputs, you'll prevent fungus, strengthen roots, and see measurable results season after season. This knowledge isn't flashy, but it's what separates gardens that struggle from gardens that thrive.